Hello everybody. Today we will talk about another beginner analysis. Now let's see. Now e4, e5. Let's e4, e5, knight f3. Sorry, d4, pawn d4, and e6. Whenever you d4, d6. Whenever you play a d4 and black defends with the d6. Now you have a threat of pawn taking the pawn, which is happened, and there is a possibility that queen takes queens. That is what happened in the game. So to avoid that, you can probably play a line which is black should take instead of defending with the pawn. And now this is not what happened in the game. Black have defended with d6 and pawn takes pawn, and pawn takes pawn. This is what. And now you can see queen takes queen is played in the game. King takes and king takes. And one more thing is white replied with knight to f3. Now here you can simply play pawn to d6, which is very important move, because I generally we should not move the side pawns, but here this is very crucial. It is not only cementing the the pawn on e5, but also avoiding a crucial move, which is bishop to bishop check. Okay, so after f5 is also f6 is also cementing the pawn on e5. If knight f3 is played, you can simply play this, and you can also restrict the mobility of the knight to d5 or something else. And sometimes what happens, this f6 also comes to knight g5 or at knight e5, and you can threaten these things. These two pawns are restricting the knight, and you can simply this king can go take the shelter of here, and you can simply move the knight. You can move the bishop to g7, and you can play knight to d7, and you can king can simply bring the king, which is a temporary shelter for the king, and you can bring the rook to d8. That is how you have to manage when you are able to, when you don't when your king castling is disturbed. Some way you have to find some temporary protection, because there are a lot of pieces. Even though there is most of the bigger threat, the queen is neutralized, the queens are neutralized from the game. So there will be a more or less equality, but you should be restricting the opponent's mobility. Now if you don't do that, this is what going to happen. So knight c6 obviously, and bishop to b5 obviously taking the knight and taking the center pawn. D7, bishop d7 is a very poor move, because simply you can simply take it, and you can take this, and knight 2 takes e5, and bishop takes bishop takes it. Bishop takes pawn is a very poor move. You have to play bishop to e6, something sorry, bishop to e6 is bishop to e6 also not be possible because of the pawn. So you just have to simply move to knight, king to d8, king to e8, because you have to protect this crucial fork. So even this will not work. This will not work, because bishop takes knight again, Pawn takes it again. This 4 key is inevitable. So you just have to simply play that, but the opponent did not see the uh, you know black did not check the opponent's moves and just played bishop takes pawn, and this is a blunder. This is what happens with the beginners will not simply think about the opponent moves. They will go with what is available there, which is going to be disastrous in the future. Now, obviously, knight takes pawn, and you are just getting, and there will be a gift of rook. Now, king moves. Obviously, king knight takes rook, and bishop takes pawn. Rook to g1, rook to g1, and f bishop to c6. Bishop to c7. Obviously you have to support the pawn, and the worst possibilities are here. This is simply a white win. mm, but black continued with knight to c6, ignoring bishop takes pawn. White accepts the pawn, and knight to d5 again. I don't think knight e5 is a good move. You just have to develop your bishop actually, rather than moving the same knight we just have developed. Now bishop again goes to g3, knight to b4 again. This is again a poor thing. You are just simply playing the same moves, I mean same pieces. This is against the opening principles. You have to develop the pieces. Okay, now king moves, and if black can simply play this move, and you can simply castle on king side, that is the queen side. That is a better option, but because you have to develop your pieces. Knight b4 replied with king to d1, equally bad. Then now both the, you can observe both the kings don't have don't haven't castle. So this is the very obviously this is very poor. Now rook to d1, rook to d8 check, and king you can simply move to c1, and bishop to e7. Probably he is looking for simple bishop to g5, but bishop to g5 can be easily defended with f4. Now bishop to c7, rook to d7, um, obviously protecting the rook, and bishop to e5, bishop d8, bishop to f3. Bishop to f3 is simply directing a mate on d1. So you can simply avoid with simple um, knight to f3, guarding the d1 square. But obviously this is also not possible, because this rook is anyway guarding it. But the disaster comes when you move the rook. Temporarily the rook is guarding the d1 square anyways. You can move the rook, but only after moving the knight to c3, and afterwards you can simply go on for the pawn. But the you know uh, the sorry but the problem is rook, the white rook killed the pawn, and that invited as a disaster with rook takes pawn, and obviously rook to checkmate. So always you have to prepare your pieces before going for attacks. Obviously you can take a pawn with the bishop also, but the problem here, you just have to check the opponent moves, try to defend the opponent's threats, then you should go for attacks. For example, you can simply defend with this mate with rook to rook knight to f3 and go for the rook takes pawn or bishop takes pawn, whichever it is. So this is what happens. White is winning the game actually because it is having a material advantage. But see, look at the disasters, how beginners invite disasters by not checking the opponent's moves. Thank you.